everybody. Welcome. Artists on Lockdown, Hangin and Bangin. Ronald Neston here with you from Rock and Roll Heaven in St. Charles, Illinois at the Arcana Theater outside of Chicago. And I am so excited tonight. We have drummers to the fourth power. That's right. Of course, along with my brothers Carmine and Vinny, we have Simon Phillips from Toto and of our good friend Nicko McBrain from Maiden, the Iron Maiden. So we're going to get it going. Let me bring our birthday boy. That's right. I'm going to get right into it. Vinny Appice, you know him from Last in Line, by the way. October 2nd at the Arcana Theater. Come see Vinny Appice.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you. I wore this jacket just for you.
I would have preferred you only wearing the jacket.
Sparkle. Look at that.
Look how cool. I'm dressed a little down this time, a little conservative. I mean, the shirt's cool, but I'm a little conservative today.
The shirt's cool. What do you mean? What is that?
You don't like the shirt? Tell me you don't like the shirt?
Nah. Nah. It's like a paisley thing. Paisley thing.
Yeah, you're not a paisley
It looks
guy.
good. It looks good. Those things look good on you anyway.
It looks good on me, but you're not a... You know what? I get that the V-Monster is not a paisley guy, so I get it all. But you know who is a paisley guy?
I went out today in California. It's cooled off a little bit, but the jacket was really the highlight. You know?
Well, it's the jacket with you in shorts. That's the killer right there.
Yeah, I got the shorts on too. With the sun shining, it was really sparkling.
Well, speaking of sparkly, when I think sparkly, when I think bright, shiny, there are three guys, Sammy Davis Jr., Liberace, and Carmine Appice. Those are three guys I think of. So let's bring our big brother on. You know him from Vanilla Fudge, Jeff Beck, Rod Stewart, and all the others. Carmine Appice. All right. Now he's playing with us. You better not have changed. There it is.
Yeah, I'm a little sparkly too. Vinny told me he was going to wear some sparkles, so I...
Well, you could have told me. Believe me, I got sparkles.
He wore our sister's shirt. It's my sister's shirt. She wants it back too.
My mother used to say all the time.
No, that's the funny thing. It's your sister's shirt. She don't even want it anymore.
My mother used to say, your sister's ass. And then he used to go to my sister, Terry, your ass.
Your sister's shirt.
My sister's shirt.
Bring the sister's
Look at that shirt.
I'm honored because you guys are actually, so I dressed how I dressed. Today's a little conservative, but normally I would have worn the sparkles, but I'm honored that before the show you're actually thinking, what would Ron wear? I mean, that means a lot to me.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
And you dressed down today. Look at you.
Right.
I should have, if you would have given me the memo, but you know what? I'm glad because it's my job to make you guys shine. And today,
we're shining.
Because
really
literally,
shining.
where are my sunglasses for you guys? Hang on, let me put these on.
Oh my God. Yeah, me too. I got to put my sunglasses on.
Hey, Carmine, little brother here, huh? Birthday this week.
Yeah. 54
What did you do?
years old.
Did you do anything?
Fuck yeah! I went to the Midway aircraft carrier tour. Yeah. I love that stuff. It's a big aircraft carrier from the 50s.
Where?
And in San Diego.
Oh, is it?
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
And you take a whole tour of the thing, and they got the
Is that what
airplanes
you
on
did
the
in
top.
San Diego?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, man.
So if you're in San Diego, though, I mean, how close are you to San Diego?
About an hour.
Because they've got one of my favorite Little Italies there, by the way.
Oh, then we went there after the tour.
I did the interview with your Italian magazine today.
You did with the Fra Noi. It's our Italian magazine. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Where do you go in Little Italy in San Diego? Where do you go?
I'm trying to think of, it's been a couple of years. It is one of my favorite Little Italies. Is it Michael's? Antonio's on the corner? Jeez, what was it? I think it's
They're all named Michael, Antonio, Felipe, Angelo's.
It ain't Felipe. I can tell you that right now. But listen, we could talk about this all night. But the fact is, we've got two more drummers. I am surrounded.
Great drummers.
I'm telling you, great drummers to the fourth degree, the fourth power. Let's bring them both on. First of all, our good buddy's been on our show several times, and I want a button to silence. We'll get to that. But let's bring Nicko McBrain, our buddy Nicko. All right, here it comes. I can feel it.
Yeah!
Oh, look at that outfit, dude.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
What do you think, lads?
I am
Yeah,
so
man.
proud of you.
Wow.
We should start a
Yeah.
band.
It goes
Hey,
very well with
absolutely.
that shirt, Nico.
We could call ourselves the Glitter Boys, but I think somebody already had that.
You know, it's so
Wow.
funny. I mean, really,
Go on.
if you take a step back, and you think about Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Vanilla Fudge, all in sparkles. It just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know.
I've got to
No,
tell you.
for
But it
me,
looks
you gotta
good on you
say-
guys.
To me, you got to say Blue Murder.
Oh,
Not
Bloody
Blue
Murder.
Murder. So
Yeah.
years back, I started.
Blue Murder,
I
mate.
was wearing
Yeah.
three-piece suits, right? And this is back in the 80s, probably about 87, 89. And we went to this big EMI Capitol Records convention in New York. Coverdale was there, a bunch of people, right? And I had this like maroon suit, three-piece, double-breasted and all that, right? So I turned up at this event and Rod turned around and had a kitten. I mean, he literally went, "Oh, bloody hell, what you doing with that bloody suit? It's not bloody metal, is it? What are you doing? Take it off." And I said, "Take it off."
Rod, you got to tell everyone who Rod is your manager.
Rod Smallwood. Yeah,
Yeah. Let's bring the other guy on before we get into
Yeah,
stories.
I think with all these jackets, though, maybe we should bring like Harry Casey from Casey the Sunshine Band, or Chic, or
No, we got.
we could bring our good buddy Simon Phillips,
Simon
the
Phillips.
drummer with Toto and so many
Many
other
others.
bands.
Simon.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. He's
Simon,
dressed properly. See, Simon is dressed properly.
Simon, we will go to break and allow you to change because you are not properly. You're
I hate to tell you, all my glitter outfits got burnt, so I don't have
Oh,
any.
yeah.
as well. They should be as well.
Wow.
They should be.
See, there's some good things that come out of bad things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, Simon. It's so good to see you. Thanks for being with us. Of course, Nicko, our buddy, you've been with us on several shows now, and really thank you so much for joining us. I want to get really a lot of people. Well, first of all, Nicko, our good friend Michael Sadler from Saga wanted to say thank you because you mentioned him on an interview, and he's just a great guy, and he comes by us all the time.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, hugs and big hugs back to him when you speak to him. Yeah. Beautiful band. You know, one of my all-time favorite albums. It's brilliant. You know, that was a great band.
You know, I was really excited because Saga came and played by my theater in St. Charles, and I get really excited when the bands come and they've on their concert shirt they've got like St. Charles, Illinois, Arcada Theater on the back, and all these tour dates. And they came out, and they were just going to do 2 shows. They came over here. They did one in, I don't know, maybe St. Louis and me. And they had this tour. They had the concert shirt, and on the back, 2 dates. And I was one of them. And I was really proud of that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
But it's a great band.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Sounds
got a
like
new
my
project.
Cactus tour.
Yes.
We got 3 dates.
I know. We'll do more. We'll do more.
Yeah,
But Nicko, tell me. I know you guys got a new album out. Let's get right to that. People want to hear about this.
Yeah. It came out September the 3rd. What's that? Week Friday, 2 weeks Friday passed. It's called Senjutsu. We recorded it back in Paris in 2019, in between the Legacy of the Beast tour part 1, and then we were going out part 2, which we did. So we penciled some time in way back in 2016. We went, let's do another record. This one was so much fun. So, it was all good fun at the time to say, yeah, let's go in between the 2 tours. But when we actually got in the studio, I was like, hang on a minute, I'm supposed to have my feet up back in Florida, not in the studio in the middle of winter, recording the album. So, yeah, we've 10 tracks. I've got to say it's the best. It's to me, and we all are very proud, right, guys? When we do a new record, and people say, "Well, what do you think of it?" So it's the best thing I've ever done, or best thing the band's ever done.
Right.
This is by far the best record I've ever played on with Iron Maiden. It's a masterpiece. Wow. I mean, really, Steve's got 3 epic songs. The last 3 songs on the album, they clock in at 35 minutes, just 3 tunes.
Wow.
But the reason I'm saying that is it's a classic Steve Harris. 3 songs to end the album, but in my opinion, it's and Kevin Shirley Now, lads, you know what we like about our drum sounds, don't we? We want to sound like big and fat and like, you know, you hear all the ghost notes that we're playing and stuff. He captured it. I mean, my drum sound is just immense. And
Was that the new kit? The new kit?
No, unfortunately, no, it's not, because I was using I hadn't got the British Drum Company kit built by then. That came at the end of the Legacy tour, part 2, and so that was my SQ2 Sonar Legacy drum set.
Oh, cool.
Which was stunning. I mean, it just sounded so good.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's it.
Check it out.
It's been well received. Everybody really likes it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great.
A lot of people are talking about it, man. A lot.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing, you know, you're somewhat even almost orchestral rock and roll that you do with the lengths of the songs that people just. Is that something that you guys actually set out to do? Like, it's got to be 10 plus minutes. It's got to be,
absolutely
or does
not.
it just happen?
Absolutely not. I mean, most of the stuff that's these long epic tunes are really written mostly by Steve. Although on the last album, Book of Souls, we had Empire of the Clouds, which was 18 minutes.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
That's what I'm saying. How does
In
happen?
the old days with vinyl, Vanilla Fudge did the break song. There's one full side of an album. It was 24 minutes long, one song.
Yeah,
But did
yeah.
And we had 3 songs on the other side. We had 4 songs on the whole album.
Yeah.
But did
Well,
you
you
set
know,
out for that, Carmine? Did you set out to do a 24-minute song?
Well, there was a song called the break song, which
Right.
we
So
used to do
solos,
live,
right?
and we did live. Everybody had solos in it. So, yeah, it was like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's too hot, man. Yeah.
Well, I can't
Yeah,
take
Simon.
mine off.
Fucking hot in here.
We can turn it
okay.
inside out and I'll pass it over to you.
There you go.
No, so,
Yeah,
you
give me
know,
that.
you know, the songs are what they are. They turn out, if they're 5 minutes long, I think we got 2 songs on the album that come in less than 6 minutes. And, you know, if they, you know, when the guys write them, we don't, you know, the thing is we sit in the control room, we get them played back to us and we're like, oh man, that's really cool, you know. And Kevin will tell me, hey, boys, you know, that's 12 and a half minutes bloody long. And it's like, well, what's your point? What's your point? You know, why are you telling us what the clock says? We don't care, you know. So it's just the way it is, you know. Steve writes these incredible melodic tunes where he repeats these different parts of the song where you have these amazing melodies. And then we've got 3 guitar players. And they basically, all of the guys say, well, I have my turn now. So we have 3 guitar solos. There's one track called The Parchment. There's 6 guitar solos. There's 2 each block. Not 2, you know, the one guy will do 2 in a row. So it's each person will take their solo. Then they repeat it. And then, the first person will be the 4th guy to do a solo, which is stunning. So no, we do not plan to make long songs. It's just the way it is, you know.
You know, Simon, I want to. I was doing a little math earlier, and you know, I know. no, because here's the thing.
Did you have a calculator?
I know. Well,
He's the guy that pays the band too, and he was doing that.
hey, you want my math? It's always on the negative. But Simon, you're born in 1957, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Me too.
I know. No, are you really?
Yeah, 1957.
Oh, really?
What month?
September 13th.
September, right? Yeah.
You guys are the same.
When are you? September?
February.
Huh.
Yeah. So
He's older.
9 months older. Yeah.
I'm 17 Celsius now.
So
Fahrenheit.
God, Vinny is. I love Vinny. But anyway, you're born in 1957, and I'm looking at these bands you're playing with. Everybody from Zappa, Jeff Beck, freaking Peter Gabriel. I mean, all these great bands, and you're doing it like
The Who.
Well, the American tour, the Who. That was Vinny's tour. The Who tour.
Oh my
The
God.
Who tour. That's an '89. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm talking about in the early '70s. You're playing with these bands in the '70s, and you're only what 22, 23, 26 to play with these bands. How did that all happen?
Well, I mean,
That's a big question. I know.
Yeah, I started very young. I joined my dad's band when I was 12 years old.
A Dixieland band.
Dixieland band, and I was on the road for him for 4 years. Now,
Wow.
it's really weird now at my age now, and I look at a 12-year-old.
Hey.
how did that really happen? But it did. It was a very unusual situation. My childhood ended very early. Let's put it like that. I basically hung out with adults since I was 12 years old, and I would go to school. But the more gigs I started doing with my dad, plus doing recording sessions, BBC broadcasts, the less I went to school. It was a very interesting childhood, actually. It wasn't, well, I guess it wasn't much of a childhood, but on the other hand,
Right.
what an incredible apprenticeship. And it was very disciplined. I mean, my father's his way of running his band was he's from the Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw era,
Yeah.
before the second
So is
one.
Carmine.
So that's but he's wearing sparkle, so
Yes.
it makes him feel young.
But how was
Thank
that?
you,
But
Simon.
the first,
Thank you.
but it was the first major performer like Peter Gabriel or Jeff
Jeff
Beck.
Beck, wasn't it Jeff, Simon?
Well, that was actually 19. I started playing with Jeff in '78. In fact,
Yes,
Carmen, that's when we first met
that's right.
in LA. We were rehearsing here, and we were at the Riot House.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
I used to go hang out with Jeff all the time when he came to town.
yeah, throwing certain books out of the
Yeah,
window. If you looked out on the lobby roof, all you saw was bunches of Gideons all over the roof.
Yeah.
But before that though, 1974, I did my first tour, well, first visit to the States, touring with this lady called Dana Gillespie. She's an English blues singer, but she was.
I know her.
You do? Yeah.
I know of her. Yeah.
She was managed by Tony DeFries, and Tony was David Bowie's manager.
Right.
So I got to hang out in 1974 with the most amazing collection of people. It was stunning, you know. I mean, often I really didn't know what to say. I was 17 years old.
right.
There's Dylan, and there's Bowie, and there's
Crazy.
God, I've got to think. Rick Derringer, Rick Laird. I mean, I'm just pulling names out of and I was wow, it was ridiculous, you know. But then I would go down to the bottom line and see Miles Davis play, and then I'd see Freddie King play, and Orleans, and oh gosh, the memory, gosh. Anyway, so
It's good. It's a good memory, Simon.
75 was playing with Phil Manzanero on a record.
Wow.
1976 was when I hooked up with Jack Bruce. So
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. You look at these names and your resume, it's just, I mean, we've had a lot of people on this show and a lot of people played for several, especially session kind of guys who played so many, you know, of legends. But I'm looking at yours. It's almost like this can't be real. Like all in one.
It's almost like mine.
Well, you are the absolute top. I mean, you really are who you played with. And that blows me
Simon
away
had
every week.
amazing. Simon played with some amazing people, and he's an
Because
amazing drummer.
because he's that good. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
See, that's the issue. You know, we're talking about going back in the day a little bit. Nicko, I don't think we talked about this before. I stumbled upon somewhat of an embarrassing moment in '84 where you almost quit the band. Is that?
Oh yeah. No, well, yes, it was. We were doing the I think five nights at Hammersmith Odeon, which actually the full side of the Fear of the Dark live album is not Fear of the Dark. No, it's not that, is it? It was the '85 live album.
Make up your mind.
Simon's brilliant. He remembers all these guys he met back in.
This is your second embarrassing moment.
I'm like, hang on a minute. What album was it? It was a Live After Death album, and we recorded all of the show at Hammersmith Odeon. So ideally, it'd be nice to have an actual live album for that, just from that show. But the full side of the Live After Death was actually taken from Hammersmith. So one of the nights, Bruce is screaming before he's wherever we were. He goes, "Scream for me," wherever it was. In this case, Harry goes, "Scream for me, Hammersmith." Yeah. "Scream for me, Hammersmith." Yeah. He'd do it 3 times. And he go, "The Flight of Icarus." Right? Right? He gets to the second one. and I had a brain fart, and I've gone crash, crash, no band. Right? And you can imagine there's 3,000 Billy Bunters out there going crazy. All of a sudden, when they're going, scream for me, scream for me. And I looked at, I'm down here under the kit. You know what it's like, Simon, with those big drums. I got down like this so no one could see me. And I could actually see the audience underneath the 12-inch tom, right? And they're all going, right? So I thought, oh, man, this is my second tour with the band. I'd only been in the band a couple of years by now, right? And I thought, oh, bollocks, I'm going to get the tin tack if I ain't careful for this. So I thought to myself, what I'll do is I'll go into the dressing room after the gig and I'll resign. So I went in the band. I said to the guys, right, you don't have to fire me. I'm leaving. And they all looked at one another and started laughing and said, you're having a laugh, aren't you? I said, no, okay, but I wanted to actually leave the band because I felt so embarrassed. It was really bad. And so Martin Birch came in because we had the Stones mobile out the back of the Hammersmith.
Martin Birch.
Oh, yeah, bless him.
Martin,
oh, my God.
Yeah.
And he came in and he went, oh. And he had his arms on his side. Like,
That's
that was very interesting, Nick. He said, I've got a 1/4-inch tape that I ran of the whole show. He said, I'm going to keep that in my attic. And one of these days, I'm going to release it. Unfortunately, Martin passed before he did that. So I wonder where it is. Anyway, that was it, mate.
Hey, Nicko, where did we first meet? I seem to have a memory of meeting you in a London studio.
Yeah, we were.
Was it
back in the 70s, Simon? It was around the time that because I was doing some sessions just before I joined Streetwalkers in '75, and I think we bumped it. And now I may be wrong, but I think it might have been Pie Studios at the back of Marble Arch.
I remember it well. What about? It wasn't Redan, was it? Redan Recorders.
I believe so. Yeah, it was
John Miller.
No, I don't remember that name myself, but we did meet one another.
Hold on a minute. You played with the Streetwalkers with what's his name, Chapman?
Roger Chapman, Charlie Whitney.
Chapman. Yeah, you played. I didn't know you played with them. What year did you play with them?
That was back. It was Bobby Tench.
What year?
Did you play with Bobby when you were with Jeff Beck?
No, but I knew Bobby. What year was that?
85, 86.
Oh, okay.
We showed a picture of that last time you were on.
Yeah, that John Pitcher was on bass. We had Tim Nipper Hinckley. In fact, before that, we had Blue Weaver on keyboards, and then Blue scarpered off. I think he went over with Elton or somebody, and went off to do an American tour. And so Tim Hinckley took over on keyboards.
Didn't they have different lineups like in the 70s? Weren't they going in the 70s too?
Yeah, well, originally was.
I remember them when I was with Jeff. I remember Streetwalkers, and with Rod, I remember Streetwalkers.
I did too. Yeah, I did Downtown Flyers, 1975, late 75, and then an album called Red Card. Simon, boys, I don't know, Carmine, if you remember. Do you remember Scorpio Sound?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? That was that was one of the first studios they built in London, which was a room on springs.
Wow!
I remember they built a room in a room, so it was completely isolated.
Well, it was in that modern building, I think near where Capitol Radio.
Right, it was Capitol Radio, back of Warren Street.
That's it. And they had a Kodak desk.
That's right.
And they had a pair of the super large Kodak monitors.
Yeah.
Which Trident had in their mix room.
Right.
So Ken Scott used to love to mix those. So when he mixed Crime of the Century, he had a bit of a bust up with the management at Trident. So he went to Scorpio.
Sound. Yeah.
Wow.
And he mixed on that Kodak desk, which I used to call the desk.
Simon, could you have a little more details, please?
I know, my God. I'm trying to take notes here. I'm like,
Ron's going, wait, what are we talking about?
What the hell's going on?
I've never been to London.
Go on, what is it? So you remember those Kodak desks? They had 3 lights on: green, amber, and red.
Stop, ready, and go.
So they were monstrous, weren't they? They must have been like 12 foot high,
Wow.
They're massive speakers, right?
Yeah.
And when you started driving them too much, they go from green to amber and start flickering.
Right.
And if you went to the red, it was like, that's
They
not
blow
going to
up.
happen. We're going to blow it up. And they would just completely, wedge out the speakers.
Wow.
They're those cat acts. But yeah, Scorpio
Wow.
sound. We did.
I'm going for a ride.
Ooh,
at this guy.
we did the albums there.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Oh, look. Where are you, Carmine?
We're in our apartment in New York.
The effects on the you know what? Did your daughter teach you that with the special effects? That's amazing.
Oh, they're pretty good though, right? Look at that.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Wow, that must have-
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Let me see if
That's
I-
special effects.
look, here we go.
Look at this.
Oh, look. Hey!
What the hell is?
What you can't see-
I've lost control of the show.
What you
This
can't
is like
see-
inmates running the
Yeah.
prison.
I'll be right. I'll be right back. I'll be.
Oh no, not him.
Wait, where are you going, Vin? Was it something we said?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
Where
while
you
these
going,
guys
man?
do this stuff, Simon, I gotta ask you a serious question now.
Oh, a
Because
serious
again,
one. Okay.
I know, we're not like that. But anyway, again, when we're talking about all these people that you're behind, literally physically behind, and you got Zappa in front of you, you got the boys from 10cc and Peter, and all these just huge, larger than life bands and people. Was there ever a moment or a situation where you were sitting back there going, what's going on here? Like was it a little like off the wall, off the planet? I mean, you're dealing with some pretty interesting
Oh wait,
personalities.
what's this on my shoulder?
Hey, what the hell?
Boy.
Oh.
You're together?
I flew in.
Yep.
Well, that was quick. Did you have a broomstick or
I
something?
know that was
Oh.
quick. I would have flown in.
That's great.
How
Brilliant.
about that, huh?
Beautiful.
That's a special effect there, buddy.
Wow.
Wow, and that's the thing. He's not there. He's doing the Dio hologram right now.
Yeah. It is.
Great. Wow.
Yeah, we're playing it over here in New York on Sunday at the Cutting Room.
Oh,
So,
no kidding.
With the drum was thing. We got 3 shows this week. So we're rehearsing tomorrow and tomorrow and Saturday, and then doing the gig Sunday. And we had a gig on Wednesday, but COVID blew that out. Right?
Yeah.
And we know that, Ron, right?
I know.
So
it was by
Vinny's
me.
upstairs in the upstairs bedroom, which he has better lighting than I do. You know.
I just
I
flew
wanna
back. My arms are tired.
I'm tired.
That's
All right, so let me go back to my.
Hey,
question with
wait.
Simon.
Did you think I was in California, Ron?
I did. We're talking San
Okay,
Diego.
Yeah, you had me fooled as well.
You did? Yeah.
me too.
And so did I. I didn't.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, you know.
Which is surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
It
what?
surprises me.
Your face
So,
is
hey,
pretty
Ron,
good.
so, Ron, you were talking to Simon about how much it was like, what it meant,
Yeah, give me-
playing behind all these amazing people. So he
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to answer it.
Yes, please, because I'm not a drummer. I just would love to. I'm such a huge fan of what you guys do, and I know, and I watch these drummers, and you guys are doing your thing, and you're playing the music and doing all that. But there are times when you're a spectator. You're sitting back, you're watching the antics, let's call it, or the activities, or the interaction of the lead singer, whatever, with the audience. And that's what I'm thinking. There's got to be a time, especially with the people you've worked with, Simon, that it was like, what the hell's going on?
Well, okay, so for the most part, most of my the times I worked with all these people was in the studio. It was only a couple of those names that I actually went out on the road with, which is
Oh, good point. Good point, yes.
I've seen you with 3 of those.
Have you?
I've seen you with The Who.
Yeah.
I've seen you with Jeff.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen you with Toto.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
So, but the interesting thing is, so in a studio, obviously, it's a much more personal environment. There's not so many people around, and there's no gig to do. There's no performing.
Right.
And it was interesting because I'd get a call to go and play with somebody, and it happened to be, I'd be quite a fan of them, and yeah, I have to turn up and be very professional,
Right.
And then there's other times where I get a call from someone that I wasn't a fan of at all and didn't really dig their records, but I still have to turn up and be a professional. And the funny thing is, after working with them, I became a huge fan. Because I guess I saw
cool.
a side that you know, when you're just listening to somebody, you have no idea who's on the record, who's playing. You're listening purely to the music, and it might be something that you really love, or it might be something that you're not that bothered about. And
Gotcha.
that would happen a lot, actually. And then I would turn up and meet somebody like face to face, and have to be very professional. And remember, I'm only 17 or 18 or 19, or
Right.
which era. And I also have to. I was very quiet back then, and I wouldn't say I wasn't nervous, but I was quiet. So sometimes, I didn't really say much, unless, of course, I didn't like the sound of that the engineer was getting, and then I'd say an awful lot.
I bet.
Can you repeat it on air?
In a very polite, diplomatic way, like you ask the engineer, so, you like that snare drum, do you? That snare drum.
You do you?
Because I'd like to change it.
You like that snare drum, do you? I'm glad you do, because I hate it.
You want to
That's what Vinny does.
So, and that's how it would go. And I would say most people were great to work with, and also all very different. And that's the great experience about working with people one-on-one, like with 10cc, with Graham and Eric. We had a great time together, and they showed me a lot of, because they knew I was into this. I've been into recording since I was 8 years old, and started engineering pretty young as well. So I loved all that side of it. I would sit right behind every engineer and watch every move he made.
Wow.
And it all went in. And everything I've learned, I stole. From every engineer.
Proudly, because you're stealing it from like Zappa and stuff, so that's okay.
Yeah, and I stole from every drummer too.
I
think we're all guilty
We all
of
do
that.
that.
Yeah, but let's take it.
Joe Morello said to me one time, he said, we all steal from each other. Nobody has it all.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that's from Joe Morello. He was a great,
lovely man. Joe was. I got him a couple of times on drum clinics, and he was lovely, absolutely lovely. So
and that's what speaks to the genius of those guys like Krupa, like Buddy Rich. Not a whole lot of people to steal from in their era.
Well,
real briefly, right? I'll tell you, I the first time I met Joe was at one of the NAMM shows way back in the 90s, and I think it was about 92, 93. And me and Bobby Rondinelli were doing a singing session for Pisces, the normal people, like Cure folks. And Danny Gottlieb was looking after Joe at the time.
Yes.
And they walked behind Bobby and I to say hello to Eric and to Tomas was alive then. And everyone went, "Oh, look, there's Joe Morello." And I went, "Okay, excuse me, baby, there's a Kodak moment, there's a photo opportunity. I'm going to have to go and have a word." So anyway, the first thing after greeting Joe, I said, "By the way, Joe," I said, "my mum wants to have a word with you. She'd love to meet you." And he sort of like, because he was vision impaired, so he was sort of like,
yeah.
And he went, "Oh, really? Your mum wants to meet me?" I said, "Yeah, because she's really upset with me and you because you got me drumming and I was banging on pots and pans and driving my mum crazy." And and he thought I was actually talking to him about my mum fancying him, right? He was kind of like, "Oh," and his little face, he sort of went, "Oh, okay." What a lovely guy, though, wasn't he? He was stunning, because he was the one who got me going. I saw him playing that solo in take 5, and I went, "Oh, I'm going to do that. I want to be that man."
Yeah.
Although I'm not a jazz drummer, it's funny. I mean, Simon, you played with your dad and got all of those chops together, and your juices bubbling from that. But Joe got me. He was the guy that made me want to pick up a pair of drumsticks. Or in fact, I picked up a pair of knives and beat the living daylights out of my mum's cooker.
Nicko, how much you say you're not a jazz drummer, but I know you're influenced heavily by the blues.
Without a doubt, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that was the after going through 4 years of pop music, playing in bands, doing cover versions of all the Stones, the Beatles, and all kinds of other bands. I ended up playing in a blues band called the Wells Street Blues Band, and they were from Hackney. And the Wells Street is the high road in one of the high roads in Hackney. And it was a 4-piece. The singer played harp and a bit of, dobro guitar, slide guitar. John Anderson on bass, Bill Lingwood on guitar, Dougie Chapman vocals. It was a 4-piece blues band. And it was those times where PA systems were starting to, like the WEM PA system was about in late 60s, the WEM A, B, and C columns. So you remember those times?
Oh, yeah.
And so the drummers,
I think one had the amplifier in it. Like one.
Yes.
Hey, Nicko, of course he remembers them.
No, yeah, he was.
He remembered the amplifier, too.
So yeah, I started to play, and we were playing like progressive blues, like going in, getting a bit louder, a bit more like Zeppelin's kind of style, and of course Deep Purple were hanging out, later in the 60s. So that's where I started to learn my trade for where I am now. I was doing all the pop, soul, and I played in a 9-piece, brass band for a while, doing Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Chicago stuff, which I loved.
Great.
So I did have a bit of pedigree in that with those kind of bits and bobs. So,
hey Nicko, did you ever listen to Keith Hartley?
Oh yes, yeah, way back, yeah.
Keith Hartley band. Wasn't he? I love those albums.
Stunning, yeah. I mean, it was there were so many great blues bands around, and and it was progressive. Underground clubs. They were, they weren't like nightclubs. Oh, it's an underground club,
Yeah.
Keith Hartley, brilliant. Yeah.
Wow. Sorry. Anyway.
No, that's great.
No,
that's where then I went off and started playing with those guys for three or 4 years, and the rest is history. I got stolen actually from the band that the Wells Street Blues Band ended up morphing into a band called The Axe, spelt with just AX. And my father managed it for a few years, and then we kind of got into sort of hard rock stuff. Had a keyboard player come in, 2 guitar players, and then I met these 2 singer-songwriters, and they actually made me, made me turn pro when I was 21. So it's all kind of all mishmashed into one another, but yeah, basically came out through this blues band.
Yeah.
Let's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go.
Well, no, I just want to, we touched on it a little bit earlier because, the Who is obviously one of the, I don't know, it's arguably one of the 5 rock and roll legendary bands in history. Who the other 4 is very arguable, of course. But you were part of that, obviously, in the 1989 American tour. Tell me about personalities. Tell me about what it's like to play between Townsend and Dulce. I mean, tell me what's going on here. They couldn't have been like another day at the office, I'm thinking.
If you remember, Carmen, you saw the band. It basically was a big band. And, John.
Pino playing bass, wasn't it?
No, not yet. No, no, it was John. It was Entwistle.
Was it?
Yeah. That's You're thinking.
Okay,
Later, yeah.
I'm thinking of the next.
John Entwistle used to say, "Oh, this band reminds me. It's like James Last plays the Who." Now, I don't. You know who James Last is, right? Yeah. So that was.
Who is that?
James Last was a German band leader who had this big band that played pop and rock music and was very well known and very famous in Germany. In fact, most of his band was British because he used all British horn players, but it's a European thing. Yeah. So it was interesting.
Okay.
I think Pete wanted to have a lot of people in the band because I don't think he wanted it to be compared with earlier versions of the Who or the real Who, as it were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get that feeling, and I think he just wanted it to sound different. He'd had so much fun with the Deep End band, which had 5-piece brass section, 5 singers. Gilmore was playing guitar.
It was more of a performance, more of a concert style.
Yeah, he wanted a different presentation. But the funny thing was, so I knew Pete from all his solo stuff, all the records that we'd made.
Yeah, White City was brilliant. Sorry to interrupt, but
No, no problem. Yeah.
that was just stunning.
Yeah.
Your drumming on that album.
Oh, thank you.
Give blood,
Yeah.
mate. That was one of my favorite. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No problem.
When you were talking about it, Simon, I thought, oh gosh, I've got to ask him. You know.
Yeah, you didn't get
So
your bet
that
on the Beck albums either, there, Si.
Yeah, was that before you went off with Pete and the Who when you
Yes.
did solo? Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, Give Blood, that was recorded in 1975.
Oh, man.
And Pete had booked me for the session a week too early.
Oh,
Did you turn up with your drums a week early?
So apparently, and the thing is, I didn't know about this whole story until a year later when I was doing another record with Chris Thomas. But what I did find a bit strange was there was no bass player on the session, and Pete was kind of a little untogether. Normally, he's really together with all his demos and stuff, and beautiful demos too. But this time, he had to go home to get a demo. And also, I didn't recognize Dave Gilmour. Nobody introduced us. Oh, it was great.
He's unassuming. He doesn't have a presence.
So we may not have actually recorded that song had that not happened. Interestingly enough, so
And there's
it worked
Gilmour
out
calling.
great. Yeah, there's a few little stories attached to it, but you know, another time. But what I did notice about Pete is suddenly now we're in Who mentality. He changed totally. It was not the same Pete that I knew. Funny Pete, you know. He was much more serious, and they were very very separated. They only really met on the stage at that evening. Yeah,
It was
and
Rolling Stone style.
yeah, we didn't even get a set list until about 5 minutes before the show.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, Pete would just come up with one and give it to everybody, and that was it. You know, off we go.
So you just had to learn the greatest hits album and just go for it.
Oh, we must have learned about. I counted them up. It was nearly 100 songs we learned.
Oh my goodness! And then you don't find out till the night of what you're playing.
It was you know, just reams of different songs, because it wasn't just Who stuff. It was Pete's solo stuff, Roger's solo stuff, John's solo stuff, and covers. I mean, you know.
Wow.
But I think the greatest thing about the tour was, and I hope this doesn't sound weird to anybody, it was getting to know Keith Moon.
That's totally not weird.
That was the interesting thing. And I've been in 2 situations now where that's happened. One is with The Who and one is with Toto.
Toto, yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about all the stories were Pete would tell it one way, Roger would tell it another way, and John would tell it even another way. It's hilarious. They all have 3 different versions of the same story. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, you know. And then, of course, there's Bob Pridden. Bobby Pridden's been with The Who since, I mean, you know, Bob Pridden is like the Stewart of the Stones.
Yeah.
So, and he would come up with another version. You know, it was hilarious. So, you know, I got to a little bit to know, you know, what Keith was like. I never met Keith. I think I saw him outside the Speakeasy once, standing on somebody's.
I met Keith plenty of times.
Really?
I bet you did.
He was quite a character, a good dude. I remember one time we were at the Beverly Hills Hotel in LA, and they were playing there, and Pete says, "Come up to the rooms," you know. So we went up to the room, and there's a lot of people in there. And he says, "Come on, it's time for the drum battle."
Drum war.
Oh,
There's no drums. He said, "There's a pair of sticks." He gives me a pair of sticks, and he turns the one of these big console wood TVs on its side, right? And he goes, "Come on, man," and he starts playing. He goes, "All right, go on." So I played on it as well, and it was back and forth. Man, we destroyed that TV cabinet. You know? And it was his room, so I mean, I didn't care. I wasn't being charged for it, you know. But
because that's what it comes down
that
to.
was
Really.
the craziest drum battle thing I've ever done in my life.
my! Well, it makes a change from the TV being thrown out the window, doesn't
That's
it?
right.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, right.
Those TVs were too heavy. You couldn't throw that sucker out. You need five guys.
What a great
It was a
story,
big,
mate.
giant cabinet, you know.
You're talking about
we did a bunch of shows with them with Vanilla Fudge, and he was. But I loved his playing because he never used a hi-hat. He was so different.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, he was
didn't
totally
play
different.
hard, but he played different than anybody else. You know?
Yeah, he was totally unique. I don't think I know of anybody, that nobody springs to mind at all that is remotely like Keith was in terms of how he just the style. When he
Zach does a good. Zach Starkey does a good Keith. He does a good Keith. When I saw Simon with him, Simon played like Simon.
Yeah.
You know, but
Zach does it because it's not Zach. It's Zach showing you that he can play like. But I mean, normally there's nobody I can think of in the world that plays anywhere remotely like Keith.
Yeah.
Naturally. The way he interpreted the film.
Yeah, I mean, you can imitate him, but he just did it naturally.
Yeah, I know. Pete was like, "Oh, he never plays the same drum fill, twice a day." Who cares? I mean, it's what he played, but it just worked so well. I mean, I remember when I first saw, my generation on the TV. I was like, "Who? What the?" I nearly swore there.
You can swear. We're not
family-oriented boys and girls. No, but I mean, I was just blown away. I'd never seen anybody playing like that. Yeah. You saw Gene Krupa, comparing those old guys from the 40s and even the 50s. Buddy and Louie and all those guys. And Gene was like the sort of fire one. He had that sort of dynamic playing. More. He was kind of rough and ready around the edges, if you like.
Yeah.
To me, and then Keith comes out, and I'm like, I'd never seen anything like it. Yeah. To be honest with you, I ain't never seen anything like it since.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Two lovely stories about Keith. Entwistle once told me he sat at Keith's kit once, and he's got all these toms across the top, like double layer, and all toms to the right. And he said all the top toms were tuned exactly the same. And all the four toms were tuned exactly the same too.
Wow.
That's great. So he could have played a four-piece then.
That's a great idea, actually.
And then the other thing was
that's great.
Pete said, well, Keith couldn't play slowly. He always had to play fast. So all the ballads, like Behind Blue Eyes, only a ballad when he doesn't play. And as soon as Keith comes in. And a great example of that is Won't Get Fooled Again. The original demo I got hold of because I wanted to redo all of the tapes, all the tape songs, which Pete really started. He had these 4-track tapes, and he would do the Lowry organ on Won't Get Fooled Again, the ARP 2600 on Who Are You, the other organ on Barbara O'Reilly. They were all like sequence parts before sequences, right? So the original demo of Won't Get Fooled Again is a 1-inch 8-track, and there's a little, you get the reel out, you put it on the machine, you rewind it and put it in the player, and then you get your track sheet out, and so here's you've only got 8 faders, And I put up a couple, and I say, there's acoustic guitars, there's some voices, and there's the organ, right? And then I could hear some bleed through on one of the tracks, which wasn't playing because it was empty. And I looked at a meter on the console, track 1.
Oh.
And I went, that's a drum kit. I put the fader up. It's Pete playing drums. Halftime.
And he was
halftime.
It's a halftime groove.
Wow.
I won't get fooled again. It's like Ringo. It's
that's pure gold, though. I mean, that is stunning to have found that.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, wow.
So of course, Keith, I can't play that slow. doing brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great story. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It must have, what was your feeling, though, when you were sitting there with that 8-inch 1-inch, sorry, 8-track 1-inch, and you're pulling those phase up and you hear this, and you see the VU going, and you go, right, hang on a minute, and you've discovered it. I mean, that's like pure gold, isn't it? It's like finding buried treasure. It was a buried track. Right.
I just thought, well, that's it.
Like,
Tell you what, Pete's a great engineer. All of his, all the stuff he recorded is stunning.
Mm.
He was one of the first to have a Neve sidecar made specially for him for his demo studio back in those days.
Wow.
And you don't hear that about him. You really don't.
Sounds lovely, So yeah, it was there's many more. There's all the other stories of the other songs too. All the edits that Glyn Johns made to Barbara O'Reilly, and it's beautiful.
I mean, don't you find somebody was talking to me the other day? I did some interview with this guy, and he was talking about the modern technology against what it was like with analog. And I said to him, well, the purely the main difference was the guys that were known engineers, these Glyn Johns and these great producers, were they made their name and their mark by how they edited stuff.
Yeah,
by how you could take one beat out of a 2-inch piece of tape,
and
then multi-track 24 tape. It went from 8 to 12, 24, and then they multi-track the multi-track, so you'd run 2 or 3 Studer machines.
Yeah.
And then the editing sequences, the way you would compile the edit, you had these guys were like geniuses. That's what made it. But today you got Pro Tools, which is so easy to be able to compile. Right, we know that, but there's a difference because there was a humanity that was involved by the sheer cutting the tape. It's like, oh gosh.
When I was at Rod Stewart, we had a tape.
That was an art.
It was I think it was a 1/4-inch mix of something, and we wanted to cut it on the end of a beat, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason we couldn't get it, so I said, let's measure it with a ruler from beat 3 to beat 4, and see how long it is, and then let's just cut it in the middle. And we did that, and it worked.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Really?
It's funny because that's kind of crazy stuff you do with editing back in those days.
I gotta say, I did with Mike Oldfield. I did a lot of editing. Oh, am I frozen here? No, I think so.
No, we're good.
We're astounded by these stories, Simon. It's brilliant.
It's awesome.
Waiting for the next gem.
That was a gem.
So you were doing Mike Oldfield.
That was like an Iron Maiden cut, that story.
Who?
I said that was like an Iron Maiden cut, that story. It's like 15 minutes long.
Oh, right. Touche, you got me.
I loved editing on with analog. It was just so visceral and so much fun, and there was you couldn't fix it once you cut it.
Once you cut it,
you had to be really just go for it. But it was just a lovely feeling to be able to do that. It was just and I miss it. I do actually miss it. I don't miss an analog machine. I used to have one, and it's a nightmare. Aligning it for every single project that you do, and then you want to switch to another project. You got to put new set of tones on. Tools.
Did you do a lot over the lockdown, Simon? Would you do a lot of recording and producing?
I did. Yeah, that's what kept me going last year. Was basically
me too. Yeah, us too.
Building this house and working on records and mixing records. It was I was very lucky. I think in a certain way, being around. Had it been a normal year, I may not be in this house right now because there's so many questions to be answered. I was here. I could come up from where I was living and see the contractor, and I go, "Would you like this here or there?" you know, there.
Right.
Great.
You want
Makes
this.
a difference for
You
sure.
can put all the wires for your video in the wall, you know, do all that
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Oh,
You know,
I was in here wiring up
Yeah.
cables for
Yeah.
you know, for the mic panel and everything, and yeah. So
You know,
so
we're
last
talking-
Have you ever, I know what I do is we finish digitally recording everything. When it's done, I have a friend of mine that's a really good engineer. He has a Neve board and 24 track. So we give it to him. He bounces it to the 24 track and then takes it back on digital. And it gives it that kind of warmth of analog, you know? And that way you don't have to deal with all the splicing and all that stuff we're talking about.
yeah.
And in the end result sounds like analog, you know?
you know, there's these are.
You ever do that, Simon?
No, I don't, because when I'm mixing, I actually I take it out of Pro Tools and I put it through a couple of bits of gear here. So I'm actually bussing analog anyway. So it's a real mixture of,
Right.
you know, pure digital and then coming through the analog chain and then back into Pro Tools with the mix.
What is the analog? What's the analog you're using?
Well, the first thing is my tape recorder is a Burl. It's made by a company called Burl, Burl, and it's very different to any of the Avid converters or Apogee, any of those kind, because it actually has transformers for every channel like a tape machine does.
Ah,
So there's 32 in on that. So it's like a 32 inch.
so is that instead of Pro Tools?
It communicates with Pro Tools.
Okay.
So you use the Pro Tools software, but the actual analog to digital converter, which is really where all the damage happens, because from your instrument to the microphone and the cable and the mic pre, which is basically an amplifier, that hasn't changed in 100 years. Still the same, and we're still using mics sometimes made in the 40s or the 50s if they still work.
Yeah.
We're using electronics, you know, some channels, whether it's a board or whether it's, you know, individual channels from the 70s, and as long as they work fine, it's still the same. The problem is when it hits the converter and goes to digital, and that's where the damage can be done or not, depending.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. So the Burl is a very high quality converter, and it has transformers, so it has a little bit of analog stuff before it gets you know, made
Do
into
you find yourself engineering more than playing more today?
this last year and this year. Yeah,
Sure.
I haven't played a live gig since February the 28th, 2020.
Us too. We haven't played a live. I haven't played a live gig since February 9th, 2019 at the Cutting Room, and our first gig is Sunday at the Cutting Room. So
There
that's
you go.
pretty funny. Yeah.
You know, we're talking about high-end production techniques. We're talking about stories of Keith Moon. We've got Iron Maiden. But the really important issue is how's rock and roll ribs? That to me is really the most important issue here.
I'll show you.
That's
That's
great.
the real issue.
This is the problem with this freaking COVID malarkey. I put on probably 10 pounds
Woo.
of excess tummy fat. because I've been getting my wife. You know, it's funny when the pandemic first hit, like a year and a half back. You know, when everything shut down in March 2020, it was like, oh, okay, I'll start cooking, and I got really good at stir fry cooking, and I thought that's really healthy stuff.
Ooh, I like that.
And I was cooking up a storm. Then it kind of all started to open up again, and my wife's got what she calls the magic portal. Right, which is
that's got none of our business.
So you know, it's got, you know, DoorDash, delivery dudes, all the other ones. You know, so she goes, "What do you fancy tonight? Bit of Italian, bit of Italian." She goes on the magic portal. But we got the delivery company come 5 miles. It's 5 miles from our restaurant. And they come out once or twice a week with the ribs and the wings and all that stuff.
But more importantly, Nicko, the important question here, the important question, Do you ship across the country?
Do I shit across the country? Oh, do I ship?
Ship.
Oh, I mean, that's yes in both cases. Really.
Well, if you don't, I'd like to hear more about that, frankly.
No, it's a good point actually, because we were thinking of maybe cryo packing. You know, like how do you know? You take the air out and seal it, put it in on ice.
Well,
Maybe
I think you should try it.
I don't know.
Vinny will send you Vinny's,
Ron.
mine, Carmine's addresses, Simon's
Well,
addresses.
you know, the
we'll
thing
be
is-
part of R&D here.
Well, yeah, I'd love to do that, but there's certain restrictions to sending meats and stuff across. I think certain states there's certain rules whether you can or can't. I'm not sure whether that's right, but yeah,
So all of
maybe Simon.
All of a sudden, you're a drummer that follows rules. All of a sudden.
Remember when we saw each other at the British Drum Company stand
At the NAMM show, yes.
And
Yeah.
You were getting ready to play the Funky Biscuit.
Yeah. And do the cruise.
Did you play?
No.
Did you? I
The
thought so.
cruise to the edge got cancelled real quick.
That's right. So we were going to get together and come on. We could have all gone there, but that was when that pandemic began.
Yeah.
But Vinny, you got to come down to Rock and Roll Ribs, mate. Come on.
I did. I came down with Carmine one time.
Yeah, we
Oh no,
went
you
together
have.
once.
Guess what? We
But
have.
we're gonna get together.
You were sick. You were sick.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and that weren't COVID. Honest.
But you came down anyway
I did. Yes.
to get us sick.
I had a nasty flu going on. But no, thanks,
didn't
Ron.
get
It's
sick.
doing very well. Boys and girls out there, we're having a big party on December the 4th.
No, you're not.
Oh.
I'm having my 75th birthday.
No, I know it's
party,
your
December
birthday, isn't it?
4th.
You got a big,
Yeah,
big
you can't come now. See, because
No,
you're doing that.
I've got my anniversary party, mate, and I've got a band. I put a band together called Titanium Tart. Guess what
That's
kind
so
of music we're playing?
What?
Yeah.
Iron,
Right.
Titanium,
Yeah.
Maiden,
It's
Tart.
a tart. Gotcha.
There you go.
Get on the
Titanium
We
Tart.
time.
call
Can you
Maiden's
believe they
tarts
didn't
out
get
here.
Very good, very good. That's very good. That's a good
I'm
trigger
doing,
Guys,
name.
let me tell you
by the
something.
way, I'm doing a gig next week with a band called. See if you can get the band from the name. It's called Dodgy Enterprise.
Bad company.
You went man
Ah.
a rack of ribs.
A wreck of ribs.
Really?
Nicko,
That's
thank
good.
you so
That's
much
good.
for
That's-
joining
that's
us
a good
again.
quiz. You know, that's a good quiz we can do. We
That
can
is
do
a
it.
good.
So that'll be my first gig in 2.5 years.
Where's
Talking
where's
about
that?
Black Company.
Where's that?
It's-
Where's that?
Oh,
Nicko, where?
Piper's Club down in Deerfield,
Oh, what is that? What date?
October the 15th.
We won't be, my daughter's getting married. I'll be in LA.
That's all right. Just tell her you'll be there for the honeymoon.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, doesn't
Laying right between them.
hey Nico?
Yeah.
Doesn't Simon Kirk live in Florida?
No, Simon's up
No.
in
Long Island.
up
It's
in
from
New
Long
York.
Island, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
up that
Long
way.
Island, I thought. Yeah.
Oh,
I actually
okay.
I phoned him last week. I said, "Do you want to come down and come up and have a knock?" I said, "I've got this little tribute band to you, himself, and your mates." I said, "It's called Titanium, Dodgy Enterprise." And he went, "What's it called?" I said, "Dodgy Enterprise." And he kind of went quiet. And then he went,
It's very English human name.
That's
So
a great
yeah,
name.
it's good. I mean, come on, guys. Simon, you and I. I mean, our last played a gig was. I think the last show we played was like August 2019 at the end of the Legacy tour, that part 2.
Wow.
And I miss it so bad. And come on, and I've done a couple
This
of little
brings me
bits.
to a point that I'd like to bring up, and this would really have a lot of drummers involved. We're used to going out playing hour and a half, 2 hours under hot lights, playing pretty energetic music. Therefore, normally we're very fit.
Yes.
And now, even at our age, we haven't done this for a while.
No.
I'm interested to see how, we're going to adapt.
Yes.
And also how it's affected us all this time not going out and playing.
I just said that to Vinny yesterday. But today, I just said that to Vinny. I said, I haven't played a gig. He's played a few gigs.
I played
The
6
last
gigs.
gig I played was last February. I'm curious to see how it's going to go.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, playing in the studio and it's not the same, you know.
No.
I was wondering how the Cramps were going to go when they first started playing again. Like,
Yeah.
The next day.
Muscle.
Calluses,
You know,
muscles, yeah.
Well, you know, the thing is,
But I was okay.
I had 2 rehearsals with the Dodgers a couple of weeks back. And the first one we played, we had a 3-hour session booked, and time we got the drums set up and, you know, everybody got their guitars working and the PA.
You had 15 minutes, right?
2.5 hours. Now, Bad Company songs aren't that, you know, you're not really giving it.
Yeah.
Simon's always giving it a bit of welly, but, you know, in rehearsals, you're not playing a gig. But I must admit, I got through it and I felt great until the next day.
That's right.
Then all the aches and pains started. My wrists, you know, I did. And then the next rehearsal, we only did 2 hours. And that 2 hours wore me out more than the 2.5. And that's weird.
And it's funny when you do an interview now, like I'm doing an interview for this new album I have coming out. And they go, so what's it like playing now compared to, you know, when you were younger? I said, when I was younger, I was a lot faster. Number one, I said, and I never used to wake up aching after I played.
You guys, listen, it's been a great show. We got our time has come to an end. I can't believe it. Because
what a drag, man! We're just
What's the matter with you?
Believe me,
put another 5p piece in the bloody meter, why don't you?
I know. I'm the guy that said, "Teacher, you forgot to collect our quiz, our homework." Anyway, thank you, Nicko. As always, it's always great to talk to you, my brother. Really, how about it, huh?
Yeah, man.
And Simon Phillips, once again, just want to thank you for the show. You got to come back and talk to us. A lot of stuff going on, right?
Love to. Absolutely.
All the best to you guys. Again,
yeah, dude. Simon, thank you. Nicko, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Great to see
Say
everybody.
one thing before we go. Simon, so lovely to see you. Ron, as you. But Vinny, Carmine, have a great couple of shows. I wish you could.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks for ribs.
Yeah, we'll see you when you get home. I'll be back when you get back. So
October 2nd.
Love you, mate.
Last in line at the Arcada Theater, St. Charles.
Yeah.
Come see Vinny. Vinny, I'm going to tell you something.
And when is Cactus there?
Cactus is coming. I think you guys, let me see. You guys are coming in October, aren't you?
November 5th, or is it November 5th?
Let me see. Let me look real quick. And I got to tell you.
Real quick, Ron, what about the support band, that Dodgy Enterprise? I heard are pretty good.
That's a good idea.
Good idea.
I
Put it with us.
Let's do it. November 5th, Cactus.
I tell you what, you can do the titanium one with Vinny and do the dodgy one with us. With
yeah, why not? Absolutely.
We'll even give you a sound check too.
Nicko,
we don't need that. Simon, what were you going to say, mate?
Put those 2 bands together.
Yeah.
Put your 2 bands together, and you can call them Dodgy Tarts.
Hell yeah! And on that, once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Artists on Lockdown each week, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. We are here with my brothers Carmine and Vinny. Hope to see you next week. Don't forget to like us and share us. Tell everybody about our show. We'll be back next week. Here's a little commercial to show you who we got coming next week. And once again, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you each Thursday right here. Artists on Lockdown, Hangin' and Bangin'.
Hello, Vinny Appice here for Hangin' and Bangin'. And I want to tell you about Thursday, September 23rd on Hangin' and Bangin'. We have Guitarist Night with John Five, amazing guitar player, Eddie Ojita from Twisted Sister, and Fernando Comodo. And I hope I said his name right. Anyway, that is September 23rd, Hangin' and Bangin', 7 o'clock East Coast time. 4 o'clock West Coast time. Check it out.